Hi, everyone, and welcome to this exciting new podcast for the first year students in sections. Oh, no, wait, that's not right. For the first year Mighty Morphin educators. Woohoo! So this week we're going to cover in the podcast the weeks of November 6th, November 13th, and November 20th. The Mighty Morphin educators. And this idea or theme is brought to you by Demetria, who thought that would be a great name for the section of students that she's in. So thanks, Demetria. And listen, if you want to be a podcast star like Demetria, send me your ideas, any tips or advice you have for staying organized or managing your time, any ideas you have for personalizing the podcasts, and I promise that you could become a podcast star in the future. All right, lots to cover in this podcast, so let's dive right in. If you have not already done so, go and get your agenda, your calendar, your phone. Remember that we got from Carrie 2 really good resources last week. So this is a calendar showing the remaining weeks of the semester, gasp. And Carrie also gave us a weekly schedule where you can write down everything you have to do in any given week. Both of those documents are available to you on Omnivox as part of the documents for my observing course. All right, let's talk assignments, people. And the assignments are brought to you by the green Power Ranger and the blue Power Ranger. All right, so here is your master schedule. And the mascot for the week of November 6th is going to be the yellow Power Ranger. So let's look at what's going on the week of November 6th. First of all, in affective relationships on Monday, Jean would like you to read chapter 6 in your textbook on the topic of resilience, a very important topic. For my observing course, to prepare for class on Monday, can you please read chapter 13 and review the PowerPoint about planning to observe? Two important things to look at before you come to class on Monday for observing, because we will have class time to work on the group observation plan assignment on Monday. And so you will want to come to that prepared mentally by having read that chapter and looked at that PowerPoint. And also you will want to bring any documents, any resources, any books, articles, lists, notes that you think will be important for that meeting. And you might consider also bringing a computer if you think that will help your group work on deciding what your topic is going to be and what method or methods you're going to use to gather that information. Then on Tuesday, it will be the first week 1 of the Observing for the Observation Plan assignment. And remember that on that day, you guys voted for this, the lab sections are flipped. So that's Tuesday, November 7th. Lab sections are flipped, and that is the first week that you will have to observe the for the observation plan assignment. All right, on Thursday, in Intro to the Profession, you have your past day reflection paper. That's about your daycare visit. That's due on Thursday, November 9th, and that is worth 20% of your final grade. So that's very important there. All right, next we look at the week of November 13th, and our mascot will be the red Power Ranger. So what's going on the week of November 13th? First of all, in affective relationships, Jean asks you to read chapter 10. Chapter 10 is all about self-regulation and how do educators communicate their expectations and their rules to young children. Very important chapter. In observing, you will have in-class time to meet with your group to discuss how your observation plan worked out in week 1 and any changes or modifications you would like to make for it for week 2, because on Tuesday of that week, it will be week 2, the second and final week, to gather the observations for that assignment and for the analysis assignment. And remember that on Tuesday, November 14th, the lab sections are unflipped back to the regular schedule. All right, On Wednesday in observing, you will have time to work on to finalize really, the observation plan assignment, the report, and also to start working on the analysis assignment. Very important days to come to my class in these next 2 weeks. You will have presentations about your past day daycare visit in Intro to ECE on both the Wednesday and the Thursday. That presentation is worth 5%. All right, now we're looking at the week of November 20th, and our mascot is the pink Power Ranger, my favorite. And what's going on for the week of November 20th? Jean asks you to read chapter 11, also on the topic of self-regulation. But chapter 11 is about what do you do when children don't respond to your expectations or comply with the rules? What is the role of consequences? A very interesting chapter in that textbook. And on Monday, November 20th, your observation plan group assignment is due, and that is worth 20% of your final grade in my class. All right, that's all the information that I have for assignments, reading, homework, etc. for those 3 weeks. I told you you could be a podcast star if you wore a costume on Halloween, so let's have a quick slideshow through the costumes that I photographed on Halloween 2017. So here is Officer Marissa. Here is a very cute unicorn, Kelsey with her newly shaven head. We've got Ralu and a cute little pair there of Jessica and Alessia. They are friends in real life. Marie-Pierre as a fairy. We've got Kelly, baby Jade, another cute duo, Christina and Jessica. Jenna and her Halloween-y socks. And then this last pair came to my office and gave me free candy. So they are in the podcast. All right, that's it. As usual, post your comments on YouTube after you have viewed the podcast. Remember that you can get a full transcript underneath if you are distracted by my face. And as always, stay tuned for the next announcement because that will mean that a new podcast is available for you. That's it. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great week, mighty morphin educators. Bye.